Hello, dear friends. Here we are, 30 days of good news with the Master. Another day of wonderful news. And let us not forget, this is Christmas Day. We just passed Christmas Day, the birth of Jesus. And here we are. Hello, Julija. I hope you had a beautiful Christmas. Hello, Felipe, and you too, Sally, and your beautiful wife. Right. You know why we are here at midnight, Eastern Standard Time? Because we are doing this exercise of the soul. It's the exercise of feeling what the first Christians felt, a little bit of it, when they had to go to the catacombs to share these teachings, to build that community because of the persecutions in the middle of the night. We're distant from that because, right now we are not out of our comfort zone, but it's just a tiny glimpse of it all. Yes, friends, Angelita and Cessa, still Merry Christmas, right, Josada? Hello, Felicia, good morning. That's funny, right? Adilson, Solange, thank you, Solange. Love the gifts, prayer, hearts, the sunflower. Fabiana, how are you, my friend? And the beautiful children. Big kiss to all of you. Thank you, Josara, for the smiley faces. Sunshine. Hello, Jonathan. Hello there. Yes. Hey, Fred. How are you, my friend? Rihanna. Good seeing you there. Thanks. It's a community feeling. And today, I think, since we just passed Christmas, but we're still feeling that feeling of Christmas. The dawn is a new day. Good news, good news, good morning, good news. What is the good news of the day? The title of the chapter, the book Good News, is The Good Servant, chapter 23. 23 days. Today, in a week, we're going to wrap it up. Believe it or not. Yes, we miss you too, my friend. We look forward to seeing you soon. Now, the good servant. Ooh, it seems very exciting. The good servant. Very interesting. What is it all about? Well, the chapter begins by Humberto de Campos describing some debates, discussions that the disciples went through. Look at the picture right here. So we have a feeling. You see? Disciples talking to Jesus. And Jesus was there listening. And they were talking about the following. Let me read just a little bit of it. And then we summarize it, okay? It's about the condemnation of wealth. Hello, Rose. The condemnation of wealth was deeply rooted in the spirit of the apostles, to the extent that Jesus, at various times, was obliged to intervene to put an end to unjustifiable conflicts, like children playing together, and they start like, it's mine, 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 right? Good morning, Rose. Every now and then now he's going to talk about some of the scenarios. Like Thaddeus talking about might have wanted to impose that all helpers of the preachings by the lake give all their belongings to the needy. Philip did not hesitate to assert that nobody should own more than one shirt. Levi, he talked about those who pretend to be poor, and even mentioned about wealthy men who cried like miserable peasants so they would escape tax collections. We've heard about that, right? Somewhere in 2016, people who are also very wealthy escaping the tax system. It's not something from the past. And Simon Peter actually talked about, all of it is true, but God will always inspire us at the opportune moment, and it is not for such reason that we should abandon those in need. You're crying, right? You're like laughing out loud, right, Fred? Fred, this is so interesting. I remember recently talking to somebody very close to me from another country that said, last Christmas we were talking about giving, donations to people who are in need in Brazil. And this person came like, oh, but we need to make sure people really need it. Just like Levi. Oh, there's some people who fake it. What do you do? Is it true that some people fake it? Yes. Today we were in Washington, D.C. with friends from the Essene Church in Bethesda, and together, the Spirit side of Virginia, and then we were donating, talking to more than 100 plus homeless in D.C., Franklin Square Park. And sometimes you look and you say, like, these are not homeless. Some were not. What do you do when you feel people are faking at the airport? Or you don't know if they're really faking or they need it? Should you just not do anything? What do you do? Right? Hello, Katya. It's a blessed night to be together. Community feeling. Hello, Jean Bosco. Christmas tree reminding us of Jesus' birthday. So, Simon Peter tells us God, that's the key, will always inspire us at the opportune moment. And it is not for such reason that we should abandon those in need. Of course, there are many people in need. We're not going to abandon those who are in need because some people are faking it. And sincerely, psychologically, if somebody's faking it, they're not doing well here. They're not. Greedy and whatever else that is about material attachment is also related to moral weaknesses. So we need to reach out to them too with kindness. It's not up to us to judge, is it? No, it's not up to us to judge. It's up to us to extend our hand and help. The judge is not us, right? Even those who are faking it, they need assistance. You're right, Jonathan. They need some form of assistance, probably much more than the other ones, because they are not doing well here. It's not only the material, it is the emotional, spiritual part of it too. Well, Levi was not convinced, and he said, sincere necessity should be the unceasing object of our loving interest. But in regard to false peasants, we need to consider that God's word came to us from our Master, who never tired of warning us to be vigilant. It is indispensable that we do not obsess on feelings of piety to the point that we harm our brothers on the pathway of life. This is the opinion of Levi and the opinion of many people on the earth. In that way, the former tax collector exposed his way of thinking, and then Philip, attached to the literal words of the teachings, responded emphatically, I still believe that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a wealthy person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Well, they were learning. Remember, discipleship means they were in school, learning. What did Jesus do? Remember, Umberto de Campos is educating us by sharing these reports, and he builds this chapter to dedicate to these features of our lives, material needs of ours, of others. How do we extend our helps to others? What do we do in cases of doubt? So this chapter is going to address many of these questions and much more. So what did Jesus do? He's our guiding model, right? So what do we do? Jesus did not participate in such debates. So that's the first part of it. Is it worthwhile debating it? No. Thank you, Humberto de Campos, because we're going to spend vitality. Something very important for us to know. You know, when you just out of studying, when we finish, you can do it simultaneously too, because we're so capable of multitasking in a way, though it would be ideal for us to be mindful. Later, when you Google materialization of spirits, pictures of spirit materializations, you're going to observe, all the studies show that our vitality, the ectoplasm that is created through it, it's going to be expelled through the orifices of the body. But the mouth is where it really comes out big time. What does that mean? That when you're speaking, when I'm speaking, I'm also, you know, bringing about this vitality through my breath. No wonder the greatest scholars since ancient times said that speaking too much and debating and discussing is bad for our health. It's not worthwhile. It's worthwhile studying, investigating. For example, as a scientist, how many times I participated in meetings, but you know, scientists are so interesting, they're so composed in so many ways, they're able to discuss the most conflicting topics with such elegance in many ways. Discussing and talking about, you know, what we need to achieve, trusting one another, and really respecting the different opinions, which scientists also see as a plus, because in the diversity you'll find more greater solutions. So it's quite interesting. And it's interesting to talk about studying topics, but debating for opinions like, oh, my opinion, your opinion, my opinion, our opinion, it's just spending a lot of vitality. Next time you speak, put your hand on your chest so you can feel it. That's an exercise of feeling. When you speak, put your hand, you're going to feel the vibrations in your body of your movement, the movement of the body producing that noise. It's music. Yeah, we have an instrument here, the vocal cords. And we need to learn how to speak mindfully and also wisely. And oftentimes it comes as we learn to be silent. Silent not only in the mouth, but here, not debating. And say, you know, people are entitled to their opinion. People are entitled to their shortcomings. They are entitled. But if I co-create with this vitality that is given to me through my voice, argumentations, conflicting ideas, generating like argumentative moments, it's gonna be unhealthy for me. Feel the vibrations. I remember a talk by Dr. Masaru Emoto. He discarnated already, but I had the opportunity of meeting him in person in Baltimore as he gave a talk to 600 plus people. And it's very interesting. He was speaking in Japanese, but he was translated by a lady. And we could feel everything he was saying, besides the translation, the interpretation. And one of the studies showed about how our thoughts, our words impact, and feelings impact the organization of our molecules of water. And he reminded us, our bodies are composed 70 to 75% of water. So when we're speaking, we're setting the tone of our vibrations. So we need to ask ourselves, the first thing for us, what do I speak most of the time? What is it about? Is it about negative things, positive things, difficulties, complaints? What is it? You know, it's interesting for us to learn that Jesus himself never entered those debates. On and off in these chapters, we learn that. So that's the first observation for us. However, Jesus understood the doubt that existed in his apostles' hearts, and he didn't undermine it. As a good educator, we validate the doubts of others. People have doubt. You can't say like, how come you have this question? Well, as an educator, it's valid. We're learning, and the educators need to absorb it. Hello, my friend Karen. Merry Christmas. Hello, Tanya, because for you, it's still Christmas. Yeah, great that you're joining us so we can feel the Christmas still here in the group, right? Leaving them to their own reasoning. You see, Jesus respected our own time. He waited for an opportunity to give a more general clarification. Another lesson for us. Sometimes people have questions today, doubts, like they come to us like, really, do spirits really exist? Is there really God? Oh, Jesus, did he really live? And people are like so anxious to really address all those questions now because maybe it's going to be the best time and maybe it's not. We need to wait sometimes, like nature. We're nature. A flower has a plant with flowers has a specific time to bloom. We can't expect it to bloom at another time. So we need to learn the timing of people. How do we know, Vanessa? If we're not Jesus, we cannot foresee it. How do we know? That person has a guardian angel. You have a guardian angel. And I use the expression guardian angel, meaning protecting spirit, spirit guide, whatever we like. So what do? People come with their questions, and we trust that the good spirits are going to give us the precise sign when we need to deliver clarifications, be instruments of clarifications, because we are not the master. We're passing on the teachings that he shared with us, right? Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Hello, Felipe. All right. Okay, so time went by, says Humberto de Campos. Time went by. And the petty controversies continued. We love Humberto de Campos because he really puts a stamp and say, petty controversies. No doubt about it. This type of conversation, petty. People are talking about this time of the year. Should I give money to the poor? Should I not? They're faking it. They're not. You know, today we were there in D.C. And then this lady, she came to me and looked at my coat. And I had a feeling somebody was going to ask for my coat. She said, can I have your coat? And I said, sure, but forgive me for asking, what is your size? Because I want to make sure you're going to be comfortable. And she said, oh, that's my size. I said, you know. And just cutting short the story, we found a way to have a coat for her. But then she had a cart filled with clothes. And the thought that came to my mind was like, what if she's going to take this coat and sell it, blah, blah, blah. Mentor Joseph said, that's not your business. She picked you for the request. Love and do your part. Trust her divine essence and go. That's it. Trust and meet this trust. Maybe you trusting her request, her question, her need, you're going to make her feel that she's going to do the best she can with it. So I am not judgmental. And then he said, give it to her with love. It's more than the quote. And it was a learning experience. So petty controversies, when we doubt, we have to give. Give. Trusting. Remember Jesus saying a chapter a while ago? I always prefer to believe in the good. Believe in the good. I always prefer to see the good. Dear children of God, we do too. We have the divine essence. Why am I not gonna trust? However, there would be a day in which the Master would leave Galilee for his ultimate trip to Jerusalem. So his before crucifixion, that's why Peter was more mature at this time. His last visit to Jericho was awaited with immense curiosity. Large crowds gathered along the roads. And you know the story. Who is going to show up? Yeah, you're right, Tanya. Our energy, our vibrations can help people out. It's beyond just words, material things, right? Hello, Bobby from North Carolina. Thank you so much. Okay. To show up, is there anything special you have to do for your Facebook Live to show up on the US map like yours did? I'm sorry. I don't know. Let's meditate. Okay? Jesus is coming. Visualize this. He's coming to Jericho, people, large crowds. And then Humberto de Campos says there was a wealthy publican, a wealthy man, named Zacchaeus. He knew Jesus' reputation and wished to see him. He wished so much that he climbed a tree because he was short. And he was a prestigious leader in his town, very wealthy and energetic. But he was short, he had to climb the tree, but he was anxiously awaiting Jesus passing. And his heart was flooded with curiosity and happy feelings as Jesus approached. Can you imagine Jesus approaching? The tiny man is there, and he admired Jesus' noble and simple presence. Not everyone did at the time. Feeling magnetized by his undefinable sympathy, Zacchaeus was highly surprised when he noticed that the Master had stopped by his side and talked to him in a personal manner. Highly surprised. Zacchaeus, come down from the tree, because today I need your hospitality and companionship. This is the Master coming to you and saying, I need your hospitality and companionship so you can help other people. You ready? These lessons are not remote. They're not for the past, from the past simply. They are for immortality. So Jesus is saying, I need you. I need your hospitality and your companionship. In this chapter, we learn about hospitality. We are often very bad at being hospitable because people come to see us in our homes, and we often don't feel like serving them. Because who are they? They are not Jesus. They are not the president of any country. They're just friends. But Jesus taught us lessons that being hospitable and a good host to friends is a lesson of love. It's true expression of love. Right? All right. Unable to understand what was going on in his heart, Zacchaeus came down and, overcome by immense joy, he embraced Jesus. He embraced Jesus. Embraced. With his spontaneous pleasure, and ordered that all steps be taken for the beloved guest and his entourage to be welcomed at his home with great joyfulness. See, a lesson on hospitality. Lesson on hospitality. For you and I, Jesus is a big deal. But for Zacchaeus at the time, he saw in Jesus the divine. What about us? What do we need to do to see the divine in everyone who visits our home? We need to pay attention. People come to our home and say, how are you feeling? Do you need anything? Can I help you with something? Is there anything that you need that I have forgotten? I need to cover the bases. Making people feel as comfortable as possible. And the joy of receiving them. The joy. We need to be better hosts. And I'm saying this not because of anything personal, because every time I travel, people are wonderful hosts. But it's about, you know, when I see people around the world, that they say, oh, friends are going to come, and we're expecting that they come bring something. You know, on Christmas Eve, we had good friends bringing food for us because we were so busy. They were so kind and charitable. I felt a little bit ashamed that I couldn't cook for them, but I said, you know, I'm going to make it up another time. But it's about being a better host. And about when we receive friends, as Jesus said before, throw them a party, because there's nothing better than giving this honoring title to somebody. You are my friend. Right, Sunshine? You are an Airbnb hostess? Whoa, that's good to know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. It's good to know. And you know what we're talking about too. So Zacchaeus embraced Jesus. And what did Jesus do? Did he say, Zacchaeus, go, I'll meet you there with my entourage? The master extended his arm to the publican. Extended his arm. And they walked. Listening, he was listening attentively to the most trivial observations of Zacchaeus, which generated great scorn among the disciples. Can you imagine somebody coming to somebody who's very a celebrity? I'm not saying Jesus, but just analogy. And saying, oh, look at this carpet. This carpet has this color. And the celebrity's like, yeah, you're right. And you're paying attention to it. That's how Jesus was. He really walks the talk. He loves us for whom we are. Even when we talk about trivial things, he loves us. And he embraces us. And he listens attentively to us. Do you have any doubt when you need a friend? You can count and lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. Right? And that's Jesus to us. You've got a friend in Jesus. I've got a friend in Jesus. And you can talk about like tea party with Jesus. I think that's something we can do with the children. Tea party. And share the thoughts and feelings. Practicing it. Why not? This is not the La La Land of spirituality. This is true exercises of the heart. If we don't feel the scriptures, there is no use knowing it. Right? Love you too, my friend Karen. You and my friend Vanessa. Your beloved sister too. I have you guys in my heart, and Mimi too. So here we have. Jesus embraced, he paid attention, but the apostles were like, wasn't he a wealthy man that should be condemned? Philip asked himself. And Simon Peter reflected privately, how can we understand all of this if Zacchaeus is a man of money and a sinner before the law? Right? Jesus is amazing. He doesn't discriminate. He has no prejudices. He embraces everyone, no matter who you are. As long as you're ready for him. He doesn't push. He doesn't demand. He doesn't impose himself. Right? So, a few moments later, nonetheless, the entourage, I love the way Umberto de Campos describes it. The entourage entered the publican's residence. Remember, he was very wealthy. Zacchaeus did not hide his unsurpassed contentment. He was like a child. You know, like Virginia today, friends were play dating after the service in DC. And she was like, Mom, can he come to our house? And I said, yes. And she was like, yay, yay, yay. Like Zacchaeus. He was like, yay, Jesus is play dating with me today. Jesus won his attention, touching the innermost fibers of his spirit with his generous presence. Jesus' presence, generous. What is it when we visit a friend and we bring our generous presence? Jesus didn't bring any material gifts. So how was he generous? Quiz. This is a quiz for us. How did Jesus become this generous presence in Zacchaeus' home if he did not bring any material gift? He didn't buy it in a store. There were no stores, by the way. He invited him and just left and walked with him to his house. So what is it that Humberto de Campos is describing to us Jesus with his generous presence? How can we emulate this guided model and consciously be this generous presence when we are amongst others? That's an exercise for us today, December 25th. Actually, December 26th. Hello, Rita de Cassia. So, generous presence. Adilson is saying, being kind, loving, polite, gentle, and being present. I think that's probably what it is, Adilson. Kind, loving, polite, gentle, and mindful, truly present. No cell phone. Jesus didn't have a cell phone. In his hands, but he had one in his mind. No, I'm joking now. But it's about being fully present, right? Tanya is saying his divine presence and light, that's how he was generous. The vibration of love, the vibration of kindness, the vibration of politeness, gentleness, presence, mindfulness. That's a lesson for us. Generous presence. He was a beloved guest who would forever dwell in his heart. Jesus really makes us laugh of joy, right, Fred? He was a beloved guest. Sundown approached. Yes, immense love, always love, Rita. Sundown approached. When Zacchaeus ordered that a light meal be served to the whole crowd as a sign of his joy to sit with Jesus and the apostles beneath a large portico. Can you imagine everybody coming to your home and you're rejoicing, you're serving, and you're not saying, no, I just want Jesus. No you, no you, no you, no you. How often are we like this? We invite somebody, they bring their entourage for whatever reason, and we're like, really? I invited this and I have to serve this, that, and the other. Zacchaeus is a lesson of hospitality. No wonder he connected with the master. He was ready, as André Luiz says in the book No Solar Our Home, through Chico Xavier. When the student or the worker is ready, work appears. It's there, the opportunity. So, he served the whole crowd as a sign of his joy to sit with Jesus and the apostles. The conversation was about the new doctrine, and knowing that Jesus, the Master, remember, Humberto de Campos purposefully uses these adjectives like Master, Messiah, Jesus, Christ, to show to us the moments are specifically teaching us a particular feature of his educational pathway. Now, Master. Zacchaeus is looking at Jesus now from learning experience, master. So he was like, he knew Jesus condemned immoral worldly wealth, immoral. So he says, Lord, it's true that I have been seen as a man whose life is of reproach. However, with all the sincerity of his soul, for many years I have tried to use my money in a way that benefits all who are around me. When I observed that here in Jericho there were many heads of families who did not have a job, I then organized many services for raising animals and for cultivating the soil continually. Many families, even those from Jerusalem, came to seek the indispensable resources for life through my initiatives. And Jesus replied, filled with kindness, blessed are your efforts. Zacchaeus gained new strength and murmured, my house servants never found me to be lacking a sincere disposition to serve them. And the Messiah now exclaimed, I rejoice with you. The Messiah is the one designated by God to come and represent divinity. So he is blessing. He's saying, I rejoice with you because we are all servants of our Father. See, Humberto de Campos is very masterful when he writes this report, because in his choice of words he's teaching us the different angles of this lesson. Now the Messiah, the one designated by God, is sharing a lesson. He's also telling, now you are being the servant of our Father, because that's who we are. And the publican, who often had been unjustly accused, felt great satisfaction. How often people look at us and they don't understand us. And vice versa. We don't understand people either. We're no victims. And here's the case. The word of Jesus was a valuable reward for his conscience. Zacchaeus was not that bad. Interesting. And he dedicated also to the collective good. Ecstatic. He stood up, visualize it, the joy. Remember, these are good news, friends. So Humberto de Campos is sharing the good news. Moments, ecstatic. Zacchaeus stood up and extended his hand towards Christ, the one who brings the message that is universal, the Christ consciousness, exclaiming happily, Lord, Lord, so profound is my joy that today I will share half of my wealth with all who are in need. Pick me, Zacchaeus. Pick me. Can we pay forward here, 21st century? And if I'm joking, friends, okay? This is just a joke. And if I have harmed anyone in any way, I will compensate them fourfold. Ooh la la. You're right, Adilson. When we talk about hospitality, guidelines of hospitality in Spiritist centers as well, may everyone feels home and welcome. You're so right. So right. Hello, Gustavo. Merry Christmas to you and Maria Marcia. Some of the apostles were, no, that's too much now, right? They were almost like that. And you know, Humberto de Campos is saying that they had unkind thoughts towards Zacchaeus, and they couldn't hide it. Unkind thoughts. Humberto de Campos is being kind by just saying unkind thoughts, right? Think about this. But how often we're just like that, having unkind thoughts towards others? And you think Jesus didn't perceive it? Of course he did. And you know, Humberto de Campos describes that for a moment, Zacchaeus, the host, was absent. And you see how we are ungrateful. He is serving everyone, and the apostles are unkind to the point that they go and shower Jesus with questions of this nature. How could you approve of such a miserly rich man? These apostles are so funny. They are funny. Every chapter we learn that they are always questioning the master. Friends, this is another lesson for us. If the master, the Messiah, the Christ Jesus came, gave his life, and the apostles who were living day in, day out with him, doubted his decisions, do you think people are going to get us? They're going to understand us, and they are not going to doubt our choices, even when they are right. So, as Paul of Tarsus said in the book, Paul and Stephen, he said to Timothy, do not mind the opinion of people, because today they praise you, tomorrow they hate you, and vice versa. And then the next moment when you perform something that is exquisite, they're like, ooh, you were God again. And that's exactly what happened to Paul. When he came and he prophesied, later he was beaten by an animal, and then soon after he didn't die, and they were like in this up and down of opinions. Forgive, because we also are like this. We also don't get people, we also don't understand. So let us put our expectations down and not wait for people's understanding. So we do what we have to do, right? You do what you gotta do. And you and God, loving everybody, understanding our difficulties. That's it. Merry Christmas, Rosemary. Thank you. I want to open this box. All right. I know. And Jesus was showered with these questions. Let us listen to these questions. Wasn't wealth condemned by the gospel of the kingdom? Shouldn't they spend the night in a humble home instead of in such luxurious house, in contradiction to the teachings of humility? Could a man serve God as well as the sinful world? The master awaited until the question stopped. You see, a lesson for us. People are questioning you. Let them speak. Okay, go ahead. Di-di-di, da-da-da, di-di-di, da-da-da. And then he clarified with generous firmness. Again, combinations that are unprecedented. Generous firmness. What is it? Generous firmness. Jesus was generous in his firmness. Very interesting, huh? Giving. He was giving. Generosity is about giving in abundance. And he was firm, but he was abundantly clarifying it all. He was not trying to explain a little bit and say, guys, I'm the Messiah. Remember, I'm the master. I know what I'm doing. Like we often do to our kids. They say, why are you going to do this? Because I'm the mom. Because I'm the dad and I know what I'm doing. Or the teachers. I'm the teacher. Or I'm the president of a country. I know what I'm doing. No. Jesus gave abundantly. And when he had to explain, and when he was firm, he was abundant. This chapter is about wealth and abundance, not only in the physical, but on the emotional and spiritual. We need to observe these pairings so we can read, like psychoanalysis, we learn about the analysis of the speech, and we learn how to extract the true meaning that is in between the lines, in between the pauses, the silences, and everything else. And this is one of the analyses here. So what does Jesus say with generous firmness? Ready? He's talking to us. Let us listen. Friends. See how he says he's generous. Friends. He's not upset. Is he upset with Philip and Simon for the showering of questions? He's saying, friends, do you believe that the gospel would be given to this world to transform the whole humankind into miserable beggars? Which is the greatest charity? Now he's quizzing us. Which is the greatest charity, friends? The one that relieves the need of one day, or the one that adopts providences for a whole life, an employer? In this world, there are those who become wealthy on earth and those who become wealthy in heaven. The former, the wealthy in heaven, hide their potential, the wealthy on earth hide their potential in the cover of ambitions and selfishness, and sometimes give a few golden coins to those who are starving to get rid of them. You know, like us, we think we're so generous. We're like, I'm going to donate this because I don't need it anymore. And we think, I'm so generous. But you're not giving of something you need any longer. Well, you should give anyway. I should give it anyway. But how about practicing giving something that is important for us? It was a lesson. Sincerely, today, I told Carlos, your Christmas gift was in my car. But when the lady asked for the coat, when she told me the size, your Christmas gift was a coat. And I said, that's the only coat I have of your size. And Mentor Joseph said, but you're going to keep it? Because Carlos has other coats. And you may buy you another one for him later. But she doesn't have a coat now. And I said, but it's Carlos' Christmas gift. I said, Vanessa, if she were Jesus and he asked for a coat, would you give it to him? Oh, yeah. And I know Carlos would be happy, so let's rejoice now. Because she's Jesus now. What is the difference between Jesus, child of God Jesus, and the woman who was the homeless? Today in Washington, D.C., no difference. Do we think that God loves us more because we are already pure? No. God loves the spiritual principle that animates a dog as much as us. We've never heard of any distinguishing of it. And that's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Yeah. When we read the book Evolution into Worlds by Andre Lewis, I've become greatly surprised. When studying that book, I've got to know that the more we are beginners in these experiences, spiritual principles, the more evolved the spirits are connected directly there to us. And as we evolve and reach human level, the types of spirits that are godly designated to care for us, they are different. They are evolved, but they are of a different angle because of the task they have to fulfill. They are like tutors, guardian angels, protecting spirits, versus engineers and architects when we're there talking about cellular organization in the beginning of the planet, etc. I don't want to overwhelm us with this, but just as a thought for us, okay? Well, the later, the wealthy in heaven connect their existences to numerous lives. Merry Christmas, Rita. Turning their servants and helpers into an extension of their own families. Yes, turning their servants and helpers into an extension of their families. They know how to employ the sacred deposit of God, and they are his faithful stewards in his world. I have a friend, when she was quite young, she wanted to teach the maid of the house because she couldn't read, she was illiterate, how to read. The mom didn't want it. She said, you know, she's the maid and we are the employers, keep a distance. And then this girl, she talked to a professor at the university. And the professor said, yes, you have to keep it. That's a rule of thumb. If you want your employees to do well, keep a distance. Jesus is teaching us something new. This taboo in humanity. You're great when you keep a distance. With Jesus, doesn't work. His words, I'm going to read it again because Master, the Messiah, the Christ Jesus is teaching us. The ones who become wealthy in heaven connect their existences to numerous lives, turning their servants and helpers into an extension of their own families. They know how to employ the sacred deposit of God, and they are his faithful stewards in this world. A new paradigm for us. A new paradigm for employers. Very difficult because we still don't understand how to do it. But a new paradigm for employers. The apostles listened, astounded. Philip exclaimed, Lord, I did not understand well because I had my thoughts focused on the poor, which your kindness taught us to love. And the master explained, however, Philip, it is necessary that we do not become lost in the passion of our emotions. What kind of emotions he's saying? How often we feel good about serving those who apparently have less because we feel good. He says, don't go there. Do not indulge in that passion. Some people are like, I love serving the poor. Why? Because it makes us feel good. It's valid, but we need to go deeper. Is it because it makes us feel better than others? So we need to pay attention. I know, Rita. It was a lesson for me. Yeah. And Carlos was adorable. I said, Carlos, I'm sorry. You didn't know your Christmas gift was in my trunk. But it was given away. Okay? And he said, that's okay. He didn't make it a big deal. You have never heard about a poor land, a poor tree, and helpless animals? After all, in these normal settings in which Zacchaeus is trying to attend, don't you see the man, our brother? Who is the unhappiest? The beggar without responsibility other than his or her own maintenance, or a father with children asking for their daily bread? Jesus' explanations were observed with a great sparkle in his eyes. In the eyes of Andrew, the master then emphasized, listen to this, the way Jesus is going to say this, so we feel it. He said, yes, friends, blissful are those who share their possessions with the poor. But also blessed are those who devote their potential to life's activities, knowing that the world is in great need, and thus they know to serve the Lord with the wealth that was entrusted upon them. So friends, don't feel guilty if you're wealthy. Don't feel guilty if you're an employer. Don't feel shy to be implored. On the contrary, let's learn with Zacchaeus and Jesus today how to be the good servant. We can be good servants by employing and make the employees feel as families. Really caring, really, really, really caring. Caring for our employees. Caring for those who are serving us. See, he says, yes, friends. Next, Zacchaeus ordered that a large table be set for Jesus and the apostles. Lessons in hospitality, where Jesus, another one, cut the bread. Well, hold on a second. Jesus is the guest and he's cutting the bread? Lesson for us. He cut the bread and shared the overall contentment. So, he's cutting and he's serving. How often we are guests and we allow ourselves to be served and we don't serve either. So it's a two-way road. We allow ourselves to be served, but when we have an opportunity, we also serve. Being a host and a guest. Always an opportunity to serve. Jesus is an abundant spring, fountain of lessons for us. In his non-verbal lessons, he's teaching us lessons. He's saying, if you're a guest, be generous in your presence. And serve. There's always a moment in which you can serve. Even if it is like, let me pass the bread. Pay attention to people's needs too. We don't need to be like a statue. I'm going to be served. I can't do anything because not my house. I can't. Of course, you're not going to open the refrigerator. We're going to be polite unless you are, intimate. You're a good friend of the people. But we can always say, may I help you with this? May I help you with that? Right? Jesus is unbelievable. And driven by an uncontrollable joy. Zacchaeus introduced his children to Jesus and directed that his servants celebrate that night, which was memorable in his heart, saying, everybody rejoice, uncontrollable joy. Good news, friends. When we receive good news, we do it. On the ample grounds of the house, children and elders happily sang hymns of love and happiness. I can imagine Fred Gouveia and friends and singing and playing there, while young ones in great numbers played the flute, creating an atmosphere of harmony, the magic of music. It was then, according to the apostles' narrative, that Jesus gathered everyone and taught the great parable of talents. You know the parable of talents, right? Parable of talents. He gave 5 talents to one, 2 to the other, and 1 to the other. The 5 multiplied to 10. The other 1, talents like money. The other one multiplied by 2, but the one received 1. He was fearful, he kept it. And when the Lord came back, he said, I didn't multiply because I was afraid. No fear. Remember Jesus saying, fear nothing? Multiply, abundance. Abundance, trust, faith, and joy. And it was then that Jesus looked at Zacchaeus with a soft and generous gaze. Again, soft and generous. Abundant. And his divine lips pronounced the undying words, blessed are you, good and loyal servant. How about us? Are we being good and loyal servants? That's our reflection for tonight or for this day, for both. December 26th, opportunity for us to reflect. We just celebrated the coming of the Messiah, the one and only master, guide, and model. Now it's about us. Are we being good and loyal servants? Let's meditate, rejoice, and don't forget, uncontrollable joy. Zacchaeus received the good news. So did we. Let us rejoice and share. After all, joy is joy. A big kiss, a hug of friendship. Let's have a beautiful night, beautiful day, trusting that we're going to be granted a new opportunity to come back here again and learn more good news with the Master. Thank you, Rihanna, Jonathan, and everyone. True charity, Jonathan is saying. Much love. Thank you, Fred. Jeremy, kiss to Jeremy. Bye, says and